Welcome back to the Acoustic Shoppe channel. I am John here today with Jeremy. Guess what we're doing, Jeremy?
We're going to talk about that special guitar.
We are.
And it is the buzz of the town.
It is. We're debuting the most elite guitar out right now. This is the new Bourgeois Touchstone Dread. So yes, Jeremy, we're back one more time, and here's the deal. Our fans of this channel, all of our subscribers, all of our supporters have made it so that we now are able to get things before other people are. Top secret things. That mandolin you're holding, top secret. This guitar, we got this before it ever got shipped, and actually, really cool situation. We even got to go up to Lewiston, Maine recently and hang out with Dana and the folks at the Bourgeois Shoppe to talk about this guitar as well as a whole bunch of other things that they had. The Touchstone guitar has been a controversial...
So much buzz going around.
It's buzz. I would say controversy, controversy.
This is probably the primary reason we flew up to Lewiston, Maine, was to help settle get the word out there, and once and for all, what is going on. We're not going to talk to you about that in this video. We're going to talk about this guitar, but Eastman recently partnered up or acquired Bourgeois, and we got a full video explaining a little bit more about that. But part of that was allowing Bourgeois to do something they've wanted to do for years.
Exactly, and that is the Touchstone guitar. Again, we want to thank you guys who have been subscribing to the channel because this has made this possible. There has so many keyboard warriors out there right now that are, this is not a guitar, this is blah, blah, blah. All right, we're going to try to settle some of it right now. This is what it is. Like you said, Dana Bourgeois, since the beginning of Bourgeois guitars, has been working on a way to create boutique level guitars and his sound, his voicing, and do it in a mass production style. Now, I'm not saying mass production like 200,000 guitars a year. I'm not talking even I'm talking a couple hundred guitars a year.
I think right now they said they're what, 500 guitars a year that they're able to produce almost. They average about 450 guitars a year. And because of that, the amount of time that it takes to build those, when you think of that in a year with that many guys they've got working at the shop, that's a lot of time on each guitar. And thusly, when you start adding in hours, the price of the guitar goes up and up and up. And so it's been difficult for him to reach that quality that he has, wanted to make sure all of his Bourgeois guitars live up to. And
still make it affordable.
Keep the price affordable. So that's where this came together. A collaboration where the most important things that Bourgeois is known for, and that's the top, right? The top, the neck joint, the profile of the neck, all those major things have all kind of been converged into this guitar. And this is the first one, by the way. There are other variations of the Touchstone series that will come out. We got to see a couple prototypes while we were there. Got to see even one being built. I can't tell you about that one, but this was the first one that went into production, and it basically is a copy or a build similar to one of their upper line ones, the Heirloom series, or even very also similar to the Vintage Dread Vintage Pro that they do. Here's the deal on this guitar. The tops are hand voiced by Dana and his team. They are actually done next to the very guitars that all of you have been talking about for decades, which is Dana Bourgeois'. They showed us the wood piles of all the tops, and there's no separation. They are picking up from the same wood for the Bourgeois built in Lewiston, the full build, to this Touchstone, which is the collaboration, half built in Lewiston
and half built in Bourgeois. Now, we talked to Dana, we talked to his team. There's really only one company that could have made this happen, and that is part of the reason why the partnership came together. Those who have followed our channel know we love Eastman guitars. We think and mandolins. We think they do a fabulous job. They always have. They build a hand-built, hand-voiced guitar at a price that is uncomparable to anybody else because they can. Because the labor force obviously is cheaper. Now that said, I know we're going to get the comments about how that they abuse their labor, and there are labor rights issues in China. There's no getting around it. Let's just go with this. There are labor rights issues in China.
As well as governmental issues. And it's just like a lot of countries that we, as consumers end up buying from. But one of the things that inspired them was going around and selling a lot of very low quality Chinese built instruments, and Chen eventually got to thinking, I know some great luthiers and woodworkers in China. We could be building better instruments than this. I want to start a shop that uses skilled labor, these guys that have been building violins for years and know how to build some excellent instruments, and keep the price lower, but not be putting out this machine built and just assembled bad quality stuff that had been coming out prior to that.
Anyway, we're kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent here, I know, but I want to try to address some of the issues that people were talking about with this Touchstone guitar. This guitar is hand voiced next to the very same pieces of wood that go into the Lewiston built guitars by the same people. There's not a separate set of people that do that. They then also trained the folks in Bourgeois the exact ways of how they assemble the backsides, the neck joint that is in a Bourgeois guitar. They then talked over the neck profiles, the shapes, the nut width, all of the things that make a Bourgeois what they are, they taught and have got them. There are a special set of skilled laborers that only work on Touchstone guitars over there.
And it did happen over the COVID period, which extended the amount of time, but there was a lot of back and forth where Dana said, no, that's not quite right. It's not quite right. There's a lot of prototypes that got, reworked and retooled and then went back to China and said, you got to work on this, you got to fix this. So he was very involved in making sure that this lived up to what he would feel comfortable putting his name on. And this isn't something new to guitar companies.
No.
Martin has an import line. Taylor has an import line. We got a lot of guitars that come for Guild, that's an import. And Recording King, so many different ones, Breedlove. So it's not a new concept to be using import guitars. The new concept here is Dana taking the things he's most famous for, which is the voicing of the tops, the neck joints that they developed, the finish that they use, all those things, making those here in the States, and then the back and the sides and the body and assembly are all happening over in China.
So there is something new that has happened. What you just addressed is there is actually something new that has happened. What they have done is they are now bringing in an import line that is pushed to the limits. This has all of the boutique level stuff. This has all of the upper end things that are in a USA Lewiston built guitar done as a import line, which has actually probably not been done. This is going to compete directly with their own guitar. And I think this is the most interesting part of this is it is going to be very interesting to see the differences. We've played a couple of these against the Lewiston guitars. From 5 feet away, you can't tell the difference in the look of these guitars.
And I was impressed with the guys at the shop said that's what we want it. We want people, if they don't look at that inside label, they can't tell whether it's the Lewiston one or the import. Now, obviously, they're going to have to explain what's the difference.
There are refinements.
Yeah,
there
the
are
amount of
details.
time spent that they can do on the Lewiston ones demand that extra premium because they are a premium instrument. It's be like a couple different car brands where they have their upper model ones that cost quite a bit more, but the luxury inside of it is probably worth it to some people.
Yeah, their little details are going to be there. For the average player, I don't think it's going to be there. And that's the point. You're now going to be able to put a price point into a boutique level guitar. What would have cost you $6,000 to $7,000 6 months ago is now going to be almost half that price. In fact, it's going to be more than half that price. That's pretty impressive. And I find it really interesting that the company like Bourgeois would put a guitar out that is going to directly compete there. But it goes back to what Dana wanted in the first place, which was wanted people who can't jump into that boutique level to be able to experience that level of a guitar at affordable prices. There are some subtle differences. One of the first ones that I noticed personally, this does have a completely different neck profile and shape than the normal Eastman guitar. It also is a little bit different than the average Bourgeois guitar. I think the V shape on a Bourgeois guitar, Lewiston built guitar, is a little more defined, a little bit more robust. It's very more V-shaped than what this is. I almost find this to be kind of a hybrid in between. If you're looking for, you're not sure about the V and you want something very subtle and kind of more rounded, this is going to be for you. Now the nut width is going to be the same. It is that 23/32. I believe that they are going to, there is not a compound radius on this one. It is a standard radius all the way across. And I believe this first one that we got in will be in a 12, but it's supposed to be a 16-inch radius. And we'll see about that one as they come in, more of those being done. But the neck joint is exactly the same. We saw it. We saw it taken apart while we were in Lewiston. The build is all there. Again, I'm going to go through that process of how they build it. The guys in Lewiston shape, do the braces. They hand voice them. In these early batches, Dana actually personally was doing this. Then they vacuum seal a pile of them and ship those completely sealed, so nothing can happen to them, over to the Bourgeois factory. They, over there, have already been starting to work on backs and sides and neck shapes and all that stuff, and they start to assemble it and voice it and still listen to it the same way that he would do it. The finish that they use now, Eastman has been doing, since they are partnered up, have been using is the same finish that Dana has been using on his guitars for quite some time. Eastman's been calling it the True Tone finish. It is the same formulation as a Bourgeois guitar. Now again, they learn more techniques on how to spray it in a way just like the way Dana would do it there. So again, for all you naysayers out there, there are differences. Now I got another appointment difference. Waverly tuners on all Lewiston guitars. This one's had the Shallers. And again, there's an argument to be had here that the Shallers are every bit as good as the Waverlys, a different process. But these are absolutely incredible. Definitely an upgrade from the tuners that you would find on your average Eastman guitar.
But then a cost savings from the Waverlys that would be on the Lewiston. Mm-hmm. So
these are German built instead of USA built. So another import, but I don't know how you feel about that one out there.
But in general, I think it was very impressive that they don't want to show that, oh, well, our Lewiston guitars are so much better, you have to buy those. They want this to compete with their Lewiston. I think that's going to allow the opportunity for people to do more custom builds, which that's what Lewiston's known for. We went out there and spent hours going through their wood piles and picking out some gorgeous combinations of backs and sides and tops to really just build a custom guitar. I think that's going to afford the Lewiston team to start building more of these really beautiful custom-built guitars that won't be in this line. Yeah. Eastman doing the backs and sides are going to be more of a standard back and side that Eastman
East Indian rosewood, standard mahogany, standard woods that we would always use in a traditional line for the majority of players. Again, that's what that's for. It's going to allow now, like you said, the Lewiston team to do the extra stuff. We picked out some incredible woods, and I'm super excited about those extra level guitars. That just a little bit more that you would get only from a custom built guitar. And they're going to be able to do more of those, and these guitars are going to be able to be out there for the masses.
And the surprising thing that they were saying there is this hasn't been outsourcing jobs to China. This has actually allowed them to hire about 10 more people than they normally would to help build these. It's also allowing the production of the Lewiston Bourgeois to go up maybe 50 to 75 guitars a year because they just now have a larger team. So it's really increased their output that they're going to be able to do with the Lewiston, and also introducing this line that is a fully, part of integrated into that system that they've got in Lewiston and now working internationally. Very impressive for the first batch of the guitars. We didn't know what to expect. But
I'm blown away. We did actually compare this, and I'm hoping to do a closer comparison because the only thing I had in the shop right now from Lewiston is a Generation D, which is similar but had some distinct differences. I would say this stacked up extremely well against it. In fact, we had our guys listening to it yesterday. Half of them preferred this, and half of them preferred the Generation D. All of them thought it was a definitely comparison, and like I said, from distance and tone, definitely a comparable guitar. So that's what I think about it. I know you probably agree. I think the first batches, at least, are definitely something you want to check out. The price point is going to be good at under $3,000. You're going to be able to get a lot of those special things from a Bourgeois guitar at a much better price. So what we're going to do right now, I think, is kind of give them a tone sample, let you guys hear it, and hopefully you will enjoy it as much as I did.
And we really appreciate you guys watching that video. It was my favorite one we've made so far. We've done hundreds of videos, and that was the best one.
It was.
And the next one's going to be even better. If you'd like to see that, be sure you subscribe to this channel. And also, the more you comment and interact below, the more the YouTube algorithms pick it up and start pushing it out to other people, like-minded people.
Algorithms?
Algorithms, they're everywhere. They permeate the internet, and YouTube's got one, and it watches our videos, and it sees how much you comment, and then it pushes us to other people like you. And we want everyone to experience the Acoustic Shoppe world, where we talk about instruments, we do reviews, we got some fun videos coming up. We thank you guys so much for being a part of it, and we'll see you in the next video.